Hi everyone, it's Jazz Cole and I'm here with another video on how you can take a VPN and make that work for you as a language learning resource tool. So I feel like VPNs are a very powerful tool because many people use VPNs because they're trying to, make sure that their internet connections are secure. Sometimes people like to change it so they can unblock content that's not available in the US, especially on Netflix. But I want to just show you a few different ways that how a VPN can actually work for you in your language learning process. As much as I would love to say that, Netflix is great and being able to watch content from all over the world, there's nothing wrong with that. But I will just say that having a VPN will actually give you access to local content that's actually free. For example, one of my favorite programs that I actually love is TF1. It is a French broadcasting station, but it's basically it's only available in France. So you can switch your location to France and you can basically watch it. That's how I got addicted to Maman est célèbre, which is a reality TV show about influencer moms. And it's the best thing. I love it. And I don't have to pay I don't have to pay for Netflix or a subscription for that. And with having a VPN and being able to change that location, you're able to search for content that's not how to learn a language, so to say. Because for me, whenever for example, for our website, I was looking for a lot of podcast recommendations that would be able to authentically help you learn how people speak in these actual languages. And it's when you are in the US, it's always best podcasts to learn Italian, and it's always some podcast, a list of podcasts that actually teach you whatever the language is. But I don't want to really be taught these little things. I want to actually learn authentically and be exposed to these different things. So I'll get access to, if I ask for Italian podcasts, I will find so many podcasts that actually locals are listening to that I can actually start hearing. So that when I'm traveling to that country, I'm not so surprised at certain dialogue and certain slang and certain things. I'm aware of that. Just that as an example. You want to really just start training your brain to start recognizing things. Your brain is kind of like a sponge. It's where you are. It's like when you're a baby, you learn your language not by let's sit down and let's have a grammar lesson. It's no, you learn it because that's what you're surrounded by, and your brain has the ability to expand its neuroplasticity so that you can actually obtain new information, such as a language. For example, one time I was looking for Italian podcasts, and I managed to find without a VPN, I would just find podcasts to learn Italian, and it's not things I want to listen to, radio stations. I want to listen to them talk about things that I care about. I remember I found one podcast. It's a French podcast, but it is it's called Méditer de soi, temps pour soi. I will put it in there, and the link to all these podcasts are all linked below as well. But it was a meditation podcast, and it was in French, and so I'm wow, I can meditate and listen to French, because why not? And being able to even find resources like yoga, because I love to do that, and being able to learn the terms. So let's say if I go back to France and I just want to take a yoga class, I can understand what they're trying to teach me. If you're really interested in things I don't know, politics, finding things that are actually going to enhance your vocabulary about things that you care about, so that you can talk about them with people, and all these different things. There's one podcast that I am very skeptical about using. It's news in slow French, news in slow Spanish, and they have it in Spain Spanish, and then Latin American Spanish, news in slow German. That's great to get caught up on current events and to be able to learn. I think that's great for beginners. But when you just start I'm learning the basics and I just want to, keep going, I don't know where to go from here, you need to just make sure that you're looking for things that are going to expose you to these different scenarios. I actually feel it's great if you really love reading blogs, if reading is like if reading is a skill that you really want to work on, you can actually find really good blog posts that are available, or just blog sites that may interest you. That's actually how I found this site. It's called Amoureux du Monde. It's a very good, very aesthetically pleasing blog site that's specifically for traveling. And I actually used some of the passages to actually teach some of my students about how people actually write in the French language from a native speaker's point of view. I know that also you can get out of like the algorithms, like, because the way that it is that there's a separate algorithm for like Google searches in the US versus like, let's say, Belgium. So if I'm searching for something in the, like, for example, in the US, like with Italian podcasts, because typically people are trying to find podcasts that teach them Italian. So that's why you're going to find those resources. But with those, like with changing your location to that local setting, you're going to be able to have access to what are locals looking for, what kinds of resources are coming up for them in their searches. Also, what's helpful is like if you're watching things on YouTube, all of the ads are in the target language or in the native language that location is correspondent to. And I think that's also great culture too, because you can also look at like marketing, how their commercials are, because I noticed that even in like France, their commercials are a lot different than ours in terms of like what they're advertising and how they're advertising it. And not only that, but you can also see like what products or like what things you like are available like in that country. So you're not like, oh, like, wow, you have like this mug and I've never seen this mug before. I mean, I'm sure they have mugs, but as an example, it's like, oh, like that's so interesting. It's like, it's just something that for them is just normal, but you actually get a sense of culture, like merchandising. You get the sense of like how they advertise their products, because if you're like trying to use that in your career, for example, you are like really into, marketing. That can be really helpful, especially like if you're working for like a company that is looking to expand into international markets. So you really want to be able to pay attention to those kinds of things. And it's actually really funny. There's a book that is also recommended on our book club section on our website. It's called Monsieur Mediocre, how it's like when American learns the high art of being French, like everyday French. I'm not sure about the full title, but I remember reading it, and he was talking about how he was writing like they were going over like marketing strategies for marketing their wine to Americans, and he's like, yeah, like why not? It's like instead of saying like why not, it's like don't be a why no, like be a why yes. And they're like, we don't get it, they didn't get it. But it's like those kinds of like marketing things, like especially like I said in like expanding into global opportunities. So, I mean, I think that there's so many different ways to make a VPN work for you. I personally use NordVPN, but I think like whatever VPN you use will definitely like work as long as you're able to connect to those websites or to those locations. That will really help you be able to find authentic sources so that you can learn the language the way it actually is spoken and it's communicated, not from textbooks. Because textbooks are boring. I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, I hated reading textbooks. Like it's like those like I had a teacher that gave us those like guided readings. It's like you read and you fill out the blank, but I never actually read it. I just went through and just looked for the answers in the sections, My final tip is that with a VPN, you want to make sure that your internet connection is strong enough to handle it. Generally, like I remember when I was an au pair in Germany, I was like in the part of the house that got like the worst internet connection, so I wasn't able to always use it in my room, it wasn't really always. I was able to use it off my phone, but not my computer. Like that's something to take into consideration. I know like in public spaces like airports and cafes, they typically have a connection that's strong enough. So I would just make sure that you're able to have a good connection in order to use it. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope this is helpful, and I wish you the best with your language learning experience.